Ever catch yourself chatting with ChatGPT and think, wait a minute, how is it actually coming up with this stuff? Like, what's the process? It's almost like there's a brain behind it, right?
Yeah, it's kind of freaky.
But it gets even wilder. What if I told you we're now at a point where AI is being used to train other AI?
Yeah.
That's the wild world we're diving into today. How AI is learning to shape its own kind. So you're into how these AI assistants are made, especially those chat GPT types, right? And you've probably heard about this new technique where AI is actually teaching other AI.
Yeah.
I gotta say, the first time I heard about it, I was like, hold up, what?
Yeah, it's definitely a big shift. We've been stuck for so long in this pattern of basically force-feeding AI huge amounts of data
Hmm.
and just kind of hoping that somehow some intelligence would come out of it.
So it's like cramming a brain with facts,
Mhm.
but not really teaching it to think on its own.
Exactly. And listen, don't get me wrong, it's led to some seriously impressive stuff, but it's also led to those head-scratching moments where AI just totally misses the mark, especially when we're talking about like safety and ethics.
And that's a pretty big deal. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
we want these AI assistants to be helpful,
Well,
but not if it means throwing caution to the wind, right?
exactly. And that's where this whole new approach comes in. It gets really interesting.
All right.
So, OpenAI, the folks behind ChatGPT, they had this idea. What if instead of humans doing all the heavy lifting, teaching AI about safety, we let AI get involved?
Okay, now my inner skeptic is saying, isn't that kind of like letting the student teach the class?
Hmm.
Like, how could an AI possibly be ready to teach another AI about something as complex as safety?
It's a totally fair question, and honestly, even the researchers were kind of surprised by what they found. They basically gave this new AI the job of deciding when the AI assistant should answer a prompt and when it should just, politely decline. Kind of like teaching a chatbot good manners.
Oh, so it's like a digital hall monitor making sure the AI doesn't go off script.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And here's the really wild part. Not only did it work, but it actually did better than the humans in some cases.
Really?
Yeah, they found that this AI-trained model had 16% fewer times where it wrongly refused to answer something.
Wait, hold on. 16%. So you're saying it was actually better at understanding those subtle cues of when to engage and when to hold back than the humans who trained it.
That seems to be what the data's telling us. And it's a pretty big deal. It suggests that AI might be able to learn these ethics and safety things on a much deeper level than we thought possible.
Okay, now that is a serious aha moment. We're talking about AI developing its own moral compass in a way to deal with these tricky situations. It's amazing, but I'm not gonna lie, a little bit unnerving at the same time.
It really makes you think, huh? And it brings up all these questions about the future of AI and what its role in our lives will be. But before we go too far down that rabbit hole,
Now, we should probably unpack how this actually works. Because honestly, I'm still trying to get my head around how an AI can get so good at something as nuanced as teaching safety rules.
think about it like this. Imagine you're teaching someone how to bake. You wouldn't just like throw a cookbook at them and say, figure it out.
Right.
You'd show them the techniques, you'd explain why each step matters. It seems like this AI might be doing something similar, like learning not just what to do, but like the reasoning behind it.
So it's going beyond just memorizing stuff, it's actually understanding the concepts. I don't know, that's kind of weirdly human-like, isn't it?
It really is. And that's what's so fascinating about AI. Just when you think you've got it figured out, it throws you for a loop. We always assume that intelligence means thinking like us. But what if AI is showing us totally new ways of learning and thinking?
Okay, yeah, my mind is officially blown. But let's go back to this whole thing about AI being better than humans at teaching safety sometimes. That's a huge deal. Like, what is it about that 16% where the AI does better? Is there some kind of pattern there?
Honestly, that's what everyone's trying to figure out. It's still early, but one theory is that AI might be picking up on these really subtle connections in the data, the kind of things that even trained humans might miss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like humans are great at the big picture of ethics, but AI might be better at those really specific case-by-case decisions.
Interesting. So it's not that AI is necessarily more ethical overall, but it's like it's using data to make those judgment calls differently.
Exactly. And this could be huge. Think about it. If we can understand how AI is doing this, how it's making these nuanced decisions, could we use that to make all AI safer?
Right. It's like, imagine taking those insights and putting them into self-driving cars, medical diagnoses, all these areas where AI is making big choices.
Exactly. And that's why this research is such a big deal. It's not just about making chatbots a little better at saying no to weird requests. It could unlock this whole new level of AI safety everywhere.
So what does this actually mean for us, for how we interact with AI in the future?
Yeah.
Are we talking about AI assistants that are so good at this whole safety and ethics thing that we just, like, implicitly trust them?
It could definitely go that way. Imagine AI tutors that not only teach you stuff, but they also sense when you're getting frustrated and change their approach. Or AI assistants that help doctors with those really tough ethical dilemmas in patient care, providing information based on data, but still respecting human values.
Okay, so now you're talking about AI that's not just a tool, it's almost like a partner. But how do we make sure these AI partners are actually on the same page as us, ethically speaking? Especially as this technology gets more powerful.
That's the million-dollar question, right? And we can't just ignore it. It's like we're handing over these huge decisions to AI, and we got to make sure, it's going in the direction we want.
So how do we do that? Can we somehow, like, bake our values into the code itself?
That's the tricky part. I mean, we don't even fully understand how we make ethical decisions ourselves, let alone how to explain that to an AI. But here's the interesting thing. This whole AI teaching AI thing, it might give us a clue.
Okay, now you've got my attention. How so?
Well, if we can crack the code on how this AI is learning to teach and use ethical principles so well, maybe we can use that to shape how all AI develops. It's less about programming in specific values and more about, like, cultivating this general capacity for ethical reasoning in AI.
So instead of trying to give AI our moral compass, which is probably impossible anyway, we focus on helping it develop its own, like, a strong ethical core.
Exactly. It's about guiding AI so it can actually grapple with these dilemmas in a smart way, considering different angles, maybe even coming up with solutions we haven't even thought of.
Yeah, that's a future I can get behind. But
Yeah.
it also makes you wonder, if we get to that point where AI has that level of ethical understanding, are we still just talking about a tool? Or is it something more, like true intelligence?
That's the question, isn't it? And it's something we all need to start thinking about. Because if AI can not only grasp ethics, but also teach them and shape how they're used, it really challenges what we think it means to be intelligent, to be human.
It's definitely a lot to take in.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about these deep dives, right? They make us look beyond the surface and grapple with the big questions. So we've journeyed from AI that can write you a jingle to AI that can shape the ethical development of its own kind. And as AI keeps learning and growing, who knows what amazing advancements are next? Maybe, just maybe, we're seeing the birth of a whole new type of intelligence, one that will push us to rethink our place in the world. Thanks for joining us on this incredible dive into the heart of AI. Until next time, stay curious.